They have no idea that the
Look,
podcast
pot
is
is
going
not
on.
legal everywhere where everyone is watching, listening. Okay. Now, granted, if they're watching this show, chances are they're in a state where it's legal.
Maybe they're
And
sniffing catnip.
they could be. They could be, or they're standing by on the by the tables with their scotch, ready to play the drinking game with the cats.
That's a dangerous precedent to set right there.
I should say nothing. Don't do this. Don't do this.
Don't do this, folks.
Don't do this. Here's
Don't
this
take a
great
shot every
thing.
time you see a
Here's
cat.
this
Bad
awesome
things
thing
happen.
you should absolutely not do. That's what we're here to do. We're here to tell you all the things you should not do, like the things I did in college. So there you go. That's why we're here. We're here as a warning for your future self and health and safety. Otherwise, you turn out looking like us. You do better. Shoot higher. Aim higher. Come on, please.
We need to start getting younger guests to kind of counterbalance our agedness.
It's like
Rodney's not helping us here.
It's not like Rodney Dangerfield in Back to School when he's on a commercial and he asks his friend, am I getting fat? Well, you could stand to lose a few pounds. He goes, I got to get big at models. Was it Fat and Tall or something like that? Was the name of the fashion company he created? I can't remember. It was something like that. Tall and Fat. Oh, God.
Rodney Dangerfield, what a mess.
Why do I have these Gen X references go swirling around my head right now?
I'm not sure that I would say Rodney Dangerfield is a Gen X reference. I think that may be a little older than that.
The movie is a Gen X reference, not Rodney. The movie, Back to School. It was like a staple, 1987, maybe?
It's a great film.
That's kind of why I think it's not a Gen X thing. I think that's actually a late boomer thing.
I would agree with Terry on that one. Yeah, that's about the right.
Trying to tell me I was born in the wrong decade. That really scares me.
No, I'm just saying you watched movies, before you probably should have.
Well, considering I saw Animal House at like 10 or 11 through a bathroom window at my friend's house, it's a long story. I saw boobies, damn it!
Oh, in the pre-internet days, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Had to do.
Guys. Yeah, you had that or ASCII porn, and I hadn't discovered ASCII porn on the on the BBSs yet. That came a couple of years later.
You are a boomer.
No, I started playing with computers at 12.
I never heard of that.
What is it? You started playing with computers at 12 and yourself at 13?
Oh, 13? What am I, a late
come
bloomer?
On. It's all the stuff all the ASCII porn you saw on the internet. Just admit it.
Every time I come on this show, I learn something new. I didn't know that.
I learned something I didn't want to know.
Yeah, that's better. The better way to put it. Yeah.
If there's an answer to this question, it should never have been asked. Well, howdy, folks. We are here for another episode of the Dead Robot Society. I'm Paul E. Cooley. There's Terry Mixon below me where he belongs. He always was a bottom. And joining us today is author Robert Jeschonek, who is a crazy man who writes all sorts of crazy stuff.
But we should mention, though, Veronica Jaguar is not here because she is off cruising somewhere, and she will be back. We haven't gotten rid of her after one episode. That's not what happened.
She's off drinking rum and Mai Tais. She wants nothing to do with us. She's got one episode was enough to send her to a retreat. Okay, she's on sabbatical after her first episode with us.
Maybe she's getting a cleanse to get rid of us.
I'm not going to ask what kind of cleanse. I don't want to know. That's a little personal. Just saying. I could be wrong.
The DRS cleanse.
Oh, we don't recommend that to anyone.
Oh, God, no.
Why do I feel like the show's already getting ready to go over the edge of the cliff, and you haven't even barely started?
Right?
It got over the edge of the cliff the moment I added him to the show. That was pretty much usually how this goes downhill so damn quick.
I like how I get the blame for all of this, but I'll take it.
You don't think you deserve any blame for this?
I didn't bring up ASCII porn.
Oh, okay. So it's the ASCII porn that derailed the show. Got it.
Pretty much.
Right. Well, as we usually start off, what the hell has everybody been up to since last week?
I'm still editing. I've got to get this book finished, read through, and off to the real editor by the end of the month. So the first few chapters have been a little bit more challenging than I'd thought. It took a little bit for me to get my brain in the right headspace, but now I'm making progress. I've already found one plot element that I'm like, ooh, what's this? I don't remember this at all. Where's this going?
Absolutely nowhere, because you never finished it.
I figured out how I could tie it off at the end, but I'm pretty sure I never mentioned it again.
I found one of those while I was editing an Ancient Trap. I was like, what was I doing here? Why is this here? What the hell was I thinking?
We've all done that. Or the character that appears and never
just magically transports out of nowhere, has a name, a whole life story, and everything else. And you're sitting there going, who is this? And why are they here in this scene? And then they're gone.
2 chapters later, where's Bob?
Yeah, where's Bob?
Where's Bob?
Yeah. Look, I'm so glad that you're caught that. That's an embarrassing one to put out there. What about you, Robert? What have you been doing?
Oh, well, I've been launching a Kickstarter. Funny you should ask, actually. A Kickstarter campaign for a new 3-volume set of 100 stories. Are
you going to write them all yourself?
I'm writing them right now as we speak. That's all I do is just write. Yeah, that's the whole thing. No, they're all pre-existing conditional stories.
There's a great title for an anthology: Pre-Existing Conditions.
Yeah, that sounds like a literature collection, though. I don't think that's anything you'd ever read, Terry, with that kind of title.
Hey, I'm just an idea guy. I don't have to actually read the end product.
That's why your ideas are so terrible. You never plan on carrying through with them. You know how awful they are, which is why you suggest them. But then you insist they're
How many
great.
of them have you used? Let me think about this. Plenty.
That's how many I look back on and think, wow, I really should have gone with that. That was the right decision. That's how many were the right decision. Donut hole. Fucking donut hole.
I think he's feeling pretty opinionated about this.
Here, you thought you were doing your bit. You were helping. You're contributing to his work.
No. It's more like hinder. He just loves. He's the guy who loves to, pull the rug out from under you, or say, hey, yeah, you should go get that thing for me over there, without telling you that it's a complete sheet of ice. And he's slicked it with oil. That's Terry.
I'd feel slandered, but okay.
So he takes a certain grim pleasure in enjoying others' misfortune, is what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly.
Just Paul's.
Yeah, it's just mine. No one else is, just mine.
And yet you're still together on this show after all this time. I mean, how many episodes?
Like a lot of old couples, we're just all we do.
I asked for a divorce. It was denied.
Ah.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure he's sleeping around on me.
And by
I have my OnlyFans account, man. I'm all good.
So that's what you've been up to lately.
No. Let's see. I finished up an Ancient Trap. What was it? 2 weeks ago, I guess. I picked up Gravity's Bane last week ago Friday, and it was at 6,000 words when I picked it up, and it's now at 56,000 words. So I think I may finish this book this month, book 1 anyway, of the series, and then that will be good to go. So will be the first book that takes place after the Derelict Saga ends. And we'll see how it goes from there. And apart from that, working on an Ancient Trap, getting it into shape to send out for the beta readers, because I'm planning on hanging on with this book for a little while. So get all that done. I've got some artwork I've been playing with for PR stuff, trying to plan a marketing crap. And then, of course, I got to finish recording the damn thing. So that's all stuff I got to get done while all I want to do is write and finish this damn book.
Yeah.
Being an adult sucks. I don't like it. It was a horrible idea. Whoever invented it how short-sighted. How extremely short-sighted. It's very, very depressing.
1 star would not recommend.
Yeah, 1 star would not recommend. To not have the number of potatoes as advertised.
Adulthood, 1 star. Yeah.
1 star. Would not recommend. I love it.
Yeah, it's
Did
kind of
not
the curse.
finish.
That's kind of the curse of the modern day indie writer, right? I mean, you've got, on the one hand, you've got so much more that you can do yourself than was ever possible in the past. And you can take control of your own destiny in a lot of ways, at least as much as that's possible at all for anybody in this world. But on the other hand, you got like 5 million things to do and not enough time to do them all.
Pretty much.
Finding balance is tough.
As Terry would like to say, if your ass isn't in the chair, it's just something in the way, and that all is in the way. But it's all part of doing it. But the issue still is like, okay, what's the alternative? And the alternative ain't so great either. So,
well put.
It was what? Make sure I get the name right. Was it William Scott Carter that said the Wibbo test? Is that
Scott
the right
William
name?
Carter.
Scott William Carter.
Yep.
That said the Wibbo test. Would you be better off writing?
Yeah. It's a great test.
It is.
It really was. It really is.
Dean said tried getting a refund on Adulting, but was denied because I had gone past my 30-day refund period.
Oh.
Oh, I just had the worst joke idea. Oh, God.
And see, now he's going to say something and he's going to try to blame it on me.
My parents got the open box model, and then I thought, okay, but open box in that context could mean something else completely. So I'm just not going to go there. And yet I did. So I'm going to shut up now.
Stop. You need like a graphic that you can flash up on a screen. Stop.
Well, I really want to get a Stream Deck so I can basically, set some of that stuff up, because I think that would be kind of funny, but I haven't.
Is that kind of like the I forget which character it is that had the toy tiger that comes to life when nobody's looking?
Calvin and Hobbes?
Calvin and Hobbes.
Yeah.
Where his dad is telling him that they can get kids at Sears, and he's going, "I'm from Sears," and he says, "No, you're from Kmart, because it's almost as good but a lot cheaper."
I'd forgotten that.
That's a great comic strip.
I miss that awesome so much.
So it holds up. I'll still read. They have like daily posts that you can get somewhere, and I'll see the old strips, and they still look just as fresh as they did back in the day when they first appeared, because I'm old enough to remember that. So
give it a few more years, you might not remember it.
I have to go back and look at them again to see how relevant they are, how they've aged. I know some of them are timeless, period, end of story. Yeah. All the times they were on their sled and having the conversations, all the time they're playing whatever that crazy ball game it is that they play when the rules constantly change. I forget what they call it. All those moments and the stuff where he's got the food and all those things, and even parts of the school, all that stuff I think is pretty much timeless.
Yeah.
Calvin and Hobbes and Dilbert.
Yeah.
Dilbert became my life for a while. What are you talking about? That's not something I want to revisit. That's not timeless.
No, it's still going on in the real world, so it's pretty damn timeless.
Robert's like, yep, right here, here.
I still got a day job in that world. And yes, that is very representative of that world. Yes. Very accurate.
I don't know if you ever played the video game. They had a Dilbert video game that oh God, wouldn't that have been? 95 maybe? There was one part you walk through there, and there was like the executive training department. And it was like this meat grinder thing where they dropped these people in there, and even the women, it didn't matter. They gave them the pointy-haired boss cut, just like in this conveyor belt of middle management, just going through. I was just like, that was my life at Land Data in '96. That was awful.
I got to ask this question, and I'm not receiving any sort of royalty for this. Oh yeah. That was great on Calvin and Hobbes, and he used to build the snowmen that were like killing each other. It had like a cannonball hole through them, or
or it'd have a whole crime scene set up with the freaking carrot used as a knife to stab the snowman. Yeah, just.
Well, like I said, I'm not getting any kind of royalty for this, but have you guys watched Severance at all? Have you already seen that show? I got to tell you, you're missing out. It's along the lines of the Dilbert world, sort of, but so much
Yeah,
more beyond that. I'm
it's on
telling
my
you,
list.
don't
It's
miss
on
it.
my list.
Don't miss it. That's all I'm going to say. I'm
It's
not getting paid for that either.
These people lead a dual life, Terry, where they get to work and they have one life. They leave work and they have another life. That's the way it's supposed to work. But things start to blur, is my understanding.
And there's so much more to it even than you just said. It's
right. That's the
so
simplest
right.
conceit of it all. The
You
simplest conceit.
You step into
All
it
right.
at first and you're like, is this like The Office or something? You do, seriously, because they sort of present it like that at first. And then you get further into it and you're like, oh, it's a science fiction concept. And then you get further into it even than that. And it's like, oh, we're discussing philosophical conceits of various natures and the nature of life and humanity and free will and determination. Oh, it's good. That's good. You got to stay with it.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. I will throw that in my TBW.
Sorry about the digression.
No, not at all. I mean,
it's
it's
part of, get that out there. Yeah.
Part of what we babble about. Are you watching anything right now, Terry?
No, I've been listening to audiobooks when I'm not editing. I haven't been watching TV for almost a month.
I've mainly been listening to podcasts. I don't know why. I just have been basically doing stuff, but I think it's because I haven't seen anything I want to actually watch. I've had a lot of like old horror movies I enjoy on for noise or whatnot, but it's basically just because I'm lonely and need somebody talking to me, even if they're just screaming that they're being attacked. That's always fun and good.
Talking about TV, I saw the greatest headline I think I've seen in a news article in ever.
What is that?
I'm going to drag us into the old Dungeons and Dragons Wizards of the Coast open gaming license thing again to give an update on that.
Yeah, we haven't even discussed that yet.
And it's part of that. It's part of that. The headline said Paramount Plus signs up for an 8-episode run of a D&D show, wins best timing award ever. Award for best timing.
Yeah, can you imagine being their PR flack trying to go, well, we have this whole campaign plan. What do we do now? It's D&D's on fire. What do we do? Back away quickly.
It's been
no bueno.
a week since, a little bit more than a week since they
dropped the nuke.
Terms of their new open gaming license that they wanted to put out have leaked. And they finally yesterday made a statement on it where they hastily backpedaled from quite a bit of it, but they're going to stick by their guns and try to invalidate the previous open gaming license still. They want to own, they don't want to have anybody else making anything even remotely connected to them, even though they've had people doing it for 23 years because of the perpetual open gaming license that they issued.
Right.
To grow their audience back in the day. And that's not going to end up going well for them. They're going to end up getting charged. When it finally comes out, they'll end up going to court, and it's probably going to turn pretty ugly on them. But they made it sound like, oh, some people are going to put it out that, they won and we lost. But no, we think we all won. That is absolutely not what they think. That is absolutely not what they think. Their statement was filled with lies, mistruths, and snide tone. So... yeah,
it was pompous, arrogant, chief executive speak.
Pretty much. There was a lot of that going in there, to talking down condescendingly to everybody that they could reach with it. But
talking down to a fandom, not a good idea.
No.
Inside sources have said that their digital platform, D&D Beyond, is dealing with numbers in the 5 digits of people sending opening support tickets to cancel their accounts.
Oh.
So tens of thousands of people have submitted in the last week to terminate their D&D online presence. And that has apparently made them scramble backwards hastily.
Nothing will do that like something that will completely crash your bottom line of service.
Somebody had leaked previously that that's what management was looking at to decide whether or not they should go forward or not, and they leaked that information. So it's been going around the internet, and everybody's been going over there and deleting their accounts at D&D Beyond.
Wow. Bad roll.
Yeah, Howard says Will Wheaton said that they rolled dice the way he does. I played poker with him. The man can play poker. I can say that.
Did you really?
Yeah, I was at a con here with Steve Jackson, him.
Jeez.
There's a couple other people there whose names I can't even remember now. Oh, it was crazy. It was utterly utter lunacy. Utter lunacy. I'm pretty sure Will Wheaton didn't sleep for like 36 hours.
It's absolutely sad that Will Wheaton is defined by Star Trek: The Next Generation. He's getting a bad rap out of the deal, I'm sure.
He's a good. He seemed really down to earth and not like a dick at all. So
have you seen his online presence? I'm pretty sure the dick lurking in there somewhere.
Pretty sure his phrase is "Don't be a dick." Strange how that works.
I've seen him say things that are pretty dickish. So yeah,
probably. Well, we can talk about that later, but I don't deify anybody. So whatever Terry says, regardless.
Cool and memorable experience, though.
Yeah, it was, especially when Steve Jackson took over the foyer of the hotel and he built this monstrous chaos machine, I think is what it was called.
Oh, wow.
So all weekend people just added to it. So the people were working on it like all night. So by Sunday, it was just this insane monstrosity. You could not figure out where it started, where it began, or what the hell it was supposed to do. It did everything. It was really
was that then later converted into a Meow Wolf exhibition?
I have no idea. That whole weekend's a blur. It was just like by Sunday, I was just like, what in the these people? I'm too old to be here. These people are all crazy.
Well, the people that do Pathfinder, Paizo, has teamed up with a bunch of other people to create a truly non-revocable open gaming license.
Yeah.
And the intent is to go ahead and they're going to foot the bill for a law firm that's connected with the gaming industry to write it. They're going to get it all completely vetted out, and then they're going to turn it over to a nonprofit so that it's no longer under the control of any gaming organization whatsoever.
So they're following the Free Software Foundation model, essentially.
Yes. They're modeling it on the is it the Linux something? There's a Linux Society. I don't know what it is, but there's the one that holds the open license for Linux is like that.
Yeah, it's the GNU license. If memory serves. So anyway, yeah, good for them. It was funny because when you mentioned this, I had totally forgotten a bit, but I saw all these posts on Mastodon about this because it's a huge gaming D&D community and whatnot on there. People are beyond pissed. They're like so angry, it's just not even funny. So, but this was mentioned.
They really misjudged fandom.
Oh my God. See, here's what drives me crazy. You buy a property like Marvel or DC or TSR, i.e. D&D or whatever else. How can you not have a clue? How can you not do any fucking research on what it is you actually bought? Because you didn't just buy the intellectual property. You bought all the fanboys and girls that come along with it.
Ironically, TSR just about killed themselves, and they were saved when Wizards of the Coast bought them.
Yeah.
And there was a book that came out recently that went through that entire TSR process that somebody had bought a couple of months ago when it came out and then read and said, wow, the timing on this is amazing.
I don't know exactly all the ins and outs of that. I know I've heard, bits and pieces of the story of how all that stuff worked with Gygax and whatnot when the company blew up. I don't really know much of the history about that. I just know it's kind of like become the joke, right? Corel, the company that just keeps getting, passed around because they had this Linux patent, but it didn't actually cover anything. So they had bought this thing. So we're buying up all these former tech companies to try and prop it up. And it was this huge shell game. Well, what's the name of the company this week? Kind of deal. And I think that's pretty much what WotC did when Hasbro bought. But Hasbro bought WotC. I've lost the whole fucking thread.
Hasbro bought WotC. Ironically, again, Hasbro bought WotC before the in contention open gaming license came out. They owned it at the time the open gaming license came out, which is very ironic to me.
You just can't make this stupid up. You just can't do it. Anyway,
and hang on, I've got to mention this in passing. The guy that the vice president at WotC, when the open gaming license was written, has already came out and said our intent was to make it irrevocable. The lawyer that was the other half of the team that formatted it has also said that was the intent. It was to be irrevocable. The people that went and formed Paizo and started the Pathfinder game, they are former executives and people from WotC that left to form this game. So the people that are fighting them are the people that were there at the beginning. They said, we know this was not the intent because we were there. We were in the room when it happened.
Go Hamiltonian, if you will.
Yeah, it's a bit rough. It'll be a bit rough on the court case when they have all the people who are still living there going, what was your intent when you did this? Well, look at our facts we published when we did it. It's irrevocable.
Yeah, tribal memory is a bitch, isn't it? It's a real bitch.
These days. Oh my
come back and bite you in the ass big time.
Fanfic and fan film and fan games. I mean, what the heck? I just think that's great stuff, and it can just help to fuel the popularity of the initial property, as long as you don't those new expansions don't try to profit in some way, in a financial way. But yep. I guess that can get tricky. But I don't think it helps to just shut all that off completely. I mean, it doesn't make any sense at all.
No.
The problem was that when they wrote the open gaming license, WotC was having real problems getting people to buy any adventures they put out. So they wanted to have third-party people create adventures while they focused on writing the core rules. And now people have done it, and they're unhappy because they want the pie back.
Okay.
People are making money out there, and it's not them, and they're not happy.
Yeah, they're pissed about it.
And it's really rough. The original open gaming license is a whopping 900 words. It is not very long at all.
That's the way it should be.
And they're trying to legalize and saying, oh, we're not revoking it. We're just deauthorizing it. Because it says that you can use any authorized version of the open gaming license. And the people that created it said that was the intent because, when you publish a new gaming license, the remaining ones would still be authorized. So this would kept people from using draft versions of it. We authorized it. There's nothing in the thing that says you can deauthorize it, yet that's what Wizards of the Coast is trying to do. And when it finally goes to trial, odds are very good they're going to lose. And I heard somebody talking about it, and if they actually go to trial on this, since they're talking copyright, the judge, if he just looks at it in general, may say, oh, no, you're wrong. This license can stand. Or the judge might go, let's dig into this and see if any of this is defensible. And they end up going, no, nothing that you've got out here is covered by copyright. Anybody can use it, and they could lose everything.
Yeah,
except for the parts where they create a character's name and a history, the part that actually requires human creativity, like you create a character and this is their sword, that kind of thing. But the game mechanics, you roll 6 dice for this, your rule says do this, that part has never been copyrightable. Game mechanics are not something subject to copyright.
It would be nice to see them lose it all.
It's going to be an interesting ride to see where they go. Howard says, looking for alternatives to D&D since I want to run a campaign with similar junkies, maybe Dark Eye, Free League, or Green Ronin. I have not played. I've got some stuff from Free League. I'm not sure about any of the others, so I don't know what to recommend, but there are plenty of alternatives out there.
Is GURPS open? I'm guessing it's not.
Well, you were talking Steve Jackson earlier, so it's odd that you just mentioned GURPS again.
What's the one that jumped into my head? I just can't remember what his license is.
I've got a bookshelf filled with GURPS stuff, but I don't know that maybe GURPS is still in business. The Steve Jackson games, I think they may still be in business.
He's still around. He was at a con, I think, this year, or last year, rather. Sorry. I think he was at a con last summer in Austin, but I could be wrong.
Oh, another aspect of this that they were trying to do originally was saying no other virtual tabletops can, be authorized to use our stuff but us. They were trying to cut off all the online play and force everybody to go through their own in-house so they could microtransaction people to death.
And then give them NFTs for their characters, I'm sure.
Oh, there you go.
Oh my gosh.
I guarantee
Yeah,
you that was on the drawing board. In fact, it could still pop up. We spent $3 million making this, so we better it's got to go out there. They're going to laugh at it.
This is going to be the gift that keeps on giving, because this story is never going to end. It's just going to keep on going until nothing is a burning wreck. Have you ever seen the scene from Naked Gun, where you've got Leslie Nielsen standing in front of the building and exploding in the background? Please disperse. Nothing to see here. That's what this is.
It's Kevin Bacon and Animal House, where they're all stampeding. Calm, remain calm, all is well. They literally flattened him as they run him over. It's wonderful.
Like the meme with the coffee drinking dog. Everything is fine. This is fine.
This is fine. It's all fine.
It's all fine. Yeah.
We've run into this for half an hour. We need to actually let Robert talk about the Kickstarter that he's setting up. We got ourselves sidetracked.
We sidetracked? Are you kidding?
I mean, no, it's hard to believe we would do this.
Why
don't you tell us what you've got coming up? Because I know that it's a short trigger. It's what, next week? The week after? Something like that?
It starts Tuesday, January 17th. And it runs until Friday, February 3rd. So, yeah.
And what are you doing in this?
Pretty fast. I've written 100 stories that I've collected together into 3 big fat books. And I'm calling the set 100th Power. So it's Stories to the 100th Power. 3 volumes, 100 stories. And there are all kinds of different genres. Science fiction, fantasy, dark fantasy, superheroes, crime, mystery, and every other kind of weird little cross genre and cross subgenre that I can come up with, which is quite a few. So it's a real eclectic collection, an offbeat set of stories. And the books will be available as ebooks, so in digital versions, and also as paperbacks and as hardbacks. And then I'll have some other goodies in there too to go with them.
That sounds awesome. I've got to ask though, as somebody that follows Dean Wesley Smith, is this based on his 100 story anthologies that they did one and they're doing another one now? Come on, admit it.
Well, I would say I might have gotten some inspiration from him and from other authors as well. There are quite a few people who have put up 100-story anthology projects.
See, Terry thought he had you. He thought he had you.
I thought I had a gotcha right
and
there.
You swerved out of it, just wriggled out of that one.
I know how he works. I was just rewatching an old edition from 2021 before we started.
That's cheating. That is so cheating. You were supposed to
research is not cheating.
It
is totally cheating.
You know what staggered me, other than the whole thing about the mispronunciation of the word controversy, which became a whole thing that rampaged through the entire podcast, thanks to Mr. Cooley. The other thing that struck me is Terry's pure joy at entrapping other people. He loves it. He seems to live for it.
What do you think, chat? Does he do that on a regular basis? Does he do that on a regular basis?
How long did it take you to write these 100 stories? Are these ones that you've intentionally written for this?
No.
Or
we accidentally wrote
over, this could be stories you wrote over a period of decade or more. So I just thought I'd ask.
Actually they span my, short story writing career of however many years that would be. I guess, what is it now? 2023. So probably 20 years, something like that. Yeah. Maybe a little bit more than that. And they've all been published in one place or another. A few of them have been indie published by myself, but the vast majority of them have appeared in different venues, different magazines and websites and things. Some of the websites and magazines no longer exist. So this is the only place you can get all of them together in one place and have them all readily accessible and, get that feeling of opening up that hardcover book to say, yes, it is time for another edition of Mr. Jeshonek's magnificent storytelling prowess.
Is that when you pull out your cigar and you get your snifter of
smoking
bourbon,
jacket?
Your smoking jacket. All right. It's time to read some Jeschonek.
It's time to read The Amazing Jeschonek.
Or as I like to refer to him, Bob. It's time to read some Bob.
Yes, yes.
I
Or
like
as-
this idea. I like this idea of sitting out there and you know, I've seen those Smoky Mountains in the background and reading some weird ass fiction. I like that idea.
Yeah. Well, I think that's actually a good way to describe a lot of my stuff. Thank you. Weird. That could have been the title, Weird Ass Fiction.
I can go back and change the title once we get to publish this out. I can go back and change the title then.
I do tend to write that way, though I'm able to write other types of fiction as well and have done so. I've written a cozy fiction series and some other things as well. But most of the stories in these 3 volumes are kind of on the weird side. So there's one about a snack cake with a thirst for blood. Called Smidge, the love quest of
That's something you
Smidge
can get your
snack
teeth
cake.
into.
Oh, you need to go to the site
Yes.
and scroll down so you see the book.
Yeah. The
Hungry
covers on
book.
the covers represent some of the content, some of the things in the books. The title of one of the stories is The Dragon with the Girl Tattoo, for example.
Why do I have the vision of like a flying fortress style dragon with a pinup, tattooed on it somewhere?
That would be a great way to take that title too. I like that idea, but this is a different story. But yeah. So I tend to go off in interesting directions. So even if a story is sort of in a genre or a type of story that you might be familiar with, you can always rely on me to take it in a different direction ultimately. And yet to keep it rewarding and emotionally satisfying and to have moments of beauty, especially at the end. That's one of my trademarks. I like to end them in a beautiful way so that you take away some kind of wisdom or some good feeling from the story, even if it's about some kind of, freaky band of furries on a spaceship in outer space having adventures or whatever.
I'm
Go
I
ahead.
have
sure that none of
so
us
many
here
questions.
at this show take any wisdom from anything, but maybe someone will.
I had the beard for it last week, not so much now. Well, last week it was a toss up whether or not I was learning the guitar or the banjo. We hadn't made a decision yet.
Oh.
Yeah.
You put a link into the chat. I don't think it does links.
Probably not.
It doesn't, and then
I'm
you
gonna
probably
try.
shouldn't share the link anyway since it's a preview link.
Oh shit! I forgot about that.
Yeah, well, I
So-
can send the pre-launch link, which
The
would be
pre-launch
cool.
would be something, but I'm pretty sure that
Okay,
you posted
never
it. But
mind
I just
then.
want to make sure you didn't think that it's actually there because it's not.
Yeah, no, that's
Wait, I can put myself in timeout? How does that work?
I know. I looked to see if I could delete it, but I can't.
Fuck.
this. I'm gonna post it right now, and actually, this would apply to the project as well as the pre-launch
It's
page.
Can you put in
It's-
private chat? Yeah, there we go.
it can. The private chat can use links, but the public chat
Okay,
Paul had
yeah.
posted a link there, but nobody else saw
Tell
it.
you what, I will put
I'm pretty
this
sure.
You want to
in
hit-
live in Discord.
Do you want me to? Okay, so
got it.
it wouldn't help to. Okay, great,
I
He'll
got the
take
link
care of
you
it. He'll
saw.
get it. He'll get it disseminated, and it'll go in the show notes as well.
Yeah,
great.
there we go.
Well, it's like I said, there are a lot of stories, and the books will be introduced. Here's where you can close the circle, Mr. Mixon, because
Oh,
well,
that sounds
you-
ominous.
Yeah, I saw it on the little page. I saw that, which is why when he mentioned it, I thought he'd actually read the damn thing.
I thought I was like just letting that roll out for a little while first, but volume 1 will be introduced by Ramsey Campbell, who's a British master of horror fiction, quite an awesome author. So if you haven't picked up some of his work, you should check it out. He's definitely into the weird horror fiction side of the house. Volume 3 will be introduced by Ron Collins, and Terry might actually know him. He's from a circle of authors that we've been part of over the
Name
years.
sounds familiar.
And volume 2 will be introduced by Dean Wesley Smith.
I am not surprised to hear that.
So there you go. You have indeed, you are victorious in this one.
I don't know. I'd call it victorious. I don't know if that's the right word.
All of us alumni of Dean's courses and workshops, we're a pretty incestuous bunch. We keep showing up in the same places.
That's true, but that's one of the great things about that group and those experiences,
Truth.
How many times can I say phrasing in 30, 40 seconds? If you're drinking at home, don't. Sorry.
I think especially going back to the early days of the workshops, I feel like those were especially unique experiences. There was one, a master class that they had that I don't know if I forget which ones you attended, Terry, but there was one early on, and you actually lived in their home, in effect.
I was not there for that one. That was before my time.
I mean, it was just a unique experience. It was like, talk about intensive. So anyway, yeah, it left a strong impression on a lot of us. And
I went to the first one I went to was, I want to say 2011, the Think Like a Publisher workshop. And there was another one that was also business related, because I stayed for the second one, but I don't remember what it was at this point.
Yeah, you and I attended one together, because I remember touring the Oregon coastline with you, which was a fascinating experience.
Yeah, it was great.
My first exposure to you. I had no idea.
And you've recovered nicely.
To the surface.
More phrasing.
Back then I was writing erotica, so I was a totally different guy. You were like, oh, screw that guy.
That's no more phrasing. Just stop. Stop. God, it's so tongue in cheek.
But yeah, so I've got some really swell folks introducing these volumes, so that'll add additional value to the books, and it'll make it even more fun to read them, I think, and put the stories in some degree of perspective. So that's the hope there. So I think if your viewers or listeners have not yet read my work, I hope they'll try these volumes. It's a great way to get in and really sink your teeth into 100 of my stories that are some of my favorites that I've.
And it's a great way to support an indie creator.
Yeah.
What's an indie creator? We don't like those people.
Bob's an indie creator.
Bob's an indie creator?
Yeah. Yeah.
Terry.
If you got to ask, you'll never know.
Terry, didn't you used to be an indie creator? Did you?
I still am.
To be?
I thought you were. You are.
Yeah. He's owned by the man. He works for the man.
Co-authoring with a book
he
with somebody
works
that
for
owns
the
a small
man.
press. It's still a small press.
He works for the man.
If you were in my tax bracket, I would take your insults.
Oh, really? We're going to go down that road. Wow. Okay.
Here we go.
We all know indie equal poor. For most of us.
Let me tell you this. This is a definite Terry problem. When I had one of the issues that I had when I had big success a couple of years ago was I had a big tax bill that year. So I've been, paying off the IRS the money that I owe them over payments. My wife this year, at the end of the year, sent them a check to pay off most of it, all of it, something like that. Then they sent it back. Then they took it back again. And we're like, okay, what are they doing? Do they know what they're doing? I'm not sure they know what they're doing.
Have you seen their computer systems? It's not a shock.
It was rough. He's like, here's your money, IRS. The IRS says, no, here's your money back. No, we're taking it back. No, we didn't really mean to give it to you. That wasn't what we intended to do.
That wasn't it. That wasn't it at all.
Talk about mixed signals.
That's okay. As long as they get their money, that's all fine and good. I don't want any trouble with the IRS.
Yeah.
Hopeless. Absolutely hopeless.
What would be your advice to someone that wants to do a Kickstarter, Bob? Would your advice be don't do it?
That was his advice in 2021. I remember this.
No, actually, I would not say that. I would say it is a great way to make money on your writing or whatever your trade craft is that you can figure out a way to turn it into something people want. And it's a channel for publishing, for profiting from your publishing that did not really exist at this level previously. Crowdfunding's been around for a while, but the publishing side of it has really only taken off in the last couple of years. But it's a great way. Like if you've got a book series, I look at it as like a supplement to other means of publishing. And absolutely, Oregon is a beautiful place. It really is. But it's a great way to supplement a lot. Like with the last time I was on here, I talked about these Starbarian books.
Yeah.
Which, as you recall, I'm sure. And I published them through the Kickstarter first and put them out and raised money that way and got some money toward those books. Then I released them into the wild, made more money on them that way, then put them out through a bundle, a story bundle of ebooks, made some more money on them that. So it's just another way. It's just another tool. However,
another income stream, as Dean says.
Huh?
Another income stream, as Dean says.
Yeah, which is it's great. You really do need to consider all those, unless you're one of the bigger names who's just had huge success right out of the gate, and you just like put a book out and like millions of people flood and just like grab that like on day one, and just the money is in, the IRS is after you and all that stuff. However,
Totally not me.
for many of
Totally
us,
not me.
for many of us, it's a great way, because sometimes a book will sell well and sometimes it will sell a little less well. You can, move it around and make some money here and there. And it's just another way to supplement. However, it is also true, Terry, I say specifically for your benefit, it is also true that it is a difficult path to follow. There are a lot of moving pieces involved in a Kickstarter campaign. You've got to do it. There is a learning curve, and you do have to do a lot of looking around to find the information, and it takes time. You've got to perfect every aspect of it because the bar has been raised. It's a more professional overall product that's being put out there by the different people who are, launching campaigns now. So you can't just throw something out there with like a children's scribbled sketch of the cover and say, here, you want this, send me $100.
I'm looking at Paul as you say that.
Yeah, right. We're on the same page. And no, kidding. Anyway, there's a lot of work involved. However, I can say there's a great group on Facebook. And again, I'm not profiting from this in any way. It's called Kickstarter for Authors. And it was started by one of our cohorts from the Oregon Writers Group, though she's got affiliations with lots of other groups as well. And she started this group, but other people have jumped into it as well. So Kickstarter for Authors, look for it on Facebook. And why I say this is if you can get into that group, you can use that as a source of information, and it can help to trim your learning curve a little bit.
Did you do Dean's workshop on Kickstarters?
I did. He has one as well. He has a workshop, which was very helpful as well. And he continues to put out great information on Kickstarters and what's working for him and recommendations that he has. And he also, if you've taken that course one time, he sends email notifications out whenever there are groups of Kickstarter projects that he thinks are worthwhile. And sometimes they might include yours, might include those of members of that workshop group. So he's still very active, and boy, his team really, he does a lot. They do a lot of those projects. I think they do about 4 a year, which is a lot of work, but they have a staff that helps them as well. So that helps a lot. But it's difficult when you're working a full-time day gig, and then you're also trying to keep the writing going, and then you're also trying to launch a crowdfunding campaign. It's difficult to find time and get it all in there, but you do what you got to do.
Right.
You're doing a Kickstarter.
Chris asked if I'm doing a Kickstarter for the princess. It'd be like more like a GoFundMe for the princess. I gotta get more GoFundMe for my time. The problem is writing more Empire of Bones novels is that I'm on a tight release schedule with the Last Hunter series. I've been publishing a book every 2 months, so 6 books a year at this, and I just have not built up enough back time to write a personal novel. So if The Last Hunter wasn't doing as successfully as it was, then that might be a different story, but I'm going to ride this tiger while it's putting out the cash. That's what you got to do as a writer. So I will get back to it. If nothing else, when this book series is wrapped up, which it has an end in sight, then I will go ahead and write the next Empire book before I start writing another series with Cheney. So that's what I'll have to do.
That can be difficult finding time for that book of the heart, the one that you're driven to write.
When the co-authored books are paying you as much as you were earning with your 30 some odd books in your backlist already, you pay attention to that.
Wow.
Can't imagine why.
My mortgage, it's very concerned about these sort of things.
Yeah. Everything's got pluses and minuses in this creative publishing world. That's for sure.
You find yourself doing things you never imagined you'd be doing as you get further along in the writing career. You're like, how did I get here?
Yeah. Well, and that's one of the things too I was thinking about in terms of the Kickstarter is how many different disciplines that entails and how it's kind of like the culmination of a lot of different things that you do throughout a career, with the writing and video editing and graphic design and marketing skills and ad copy, and it just pulls everything together. And you're right. It's, it's interesting. You don't think necessarily that all those things are going to be tied together at some point, but they do come together in the end.
There's a reason why there are entire companies that do nothing but manage Kickstarters.
Mm-hmm. That's a way to go too. You got to hand over a chunk of change to them, but that can be very worthwhile if yours hits big enough. You just got to be really selective, because there are a lot of people out there telling you that if you go with them, they're going to give you a big old hit and you're going to have a lot of money coming in and you won't even miss that percentage that you're handing over.
Yeah, I've got a bridge to sell you in Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you ever consider doing a Kickstarter, Terry?
I really haven't, because it wasn't something that I wanted to invest the time in learning how to do when it first came about. And then I was into the publishing schedule that I'm already doing, and finding success with it, so I didn't.
Okay.
I know somebody that is an author that did a Kickstarter for doing an RPG of their book universe, and there's been plenty of people that have done that, but he ran into some problems with not quite accounting for all the taxes that needed to be paid, and it's hurt him in the writing department because of that unexpected bill at the end of the year.
Yeah, not good. Definitely hire a
You
professional
got to
accountant.
keep those tax implications in mind.
Oh yeah.
If I was going to do that shit, I would want somebody else to do all of that. Just handle it. Take your cut, handle it. I got other shit I want to do.
You'd still be responsible for the taxes.
Well, I understand that, but the fact that they didn't know what the taxes were going to be or didn't account for them is what I guess I'm talking about. Chris asks, would you recommend not using physical rewards?
That's a fantastic question, because physical rewards entail additional time and cost, of course, for the manufacturer of the products, and also the shipping costs and just nuisance costs. You think something, it's like, this sounds like a great idea.
Shipping and handling. There's a reason why there's a fee. It's not really for the shipping part, it's the handling.
And if you're getting your stuff made overseas, a lot of people that were doing Kickstarters for games that are being produced in China over the last 2 years are finding shipping and handling costs just shooting through the roof, and it's hurting a bunch of them.
Yeah. I only ship to within the US. But I know I'm cutting off.
This was more manufacturing, really. They were having their stuff produced there, and the cost of having it produced and shipped from China or wherever multiplied by 10.
Yeah.
After they did the Kickstarter, and then there they are, stuck with it.
Yeah, so that can be troubling. So I think it's great to make sure your physical reward can be
something
US
easily sourced.
Possible. But I would say that one of the main things that people go to for publishing related Kickstarter campaigns is physical books. Our physical books is whatever. Physical books.
My most recent Kickstarter acquisition.
It's beautiful. Oh,
it's a gorgeous book. It's a gorgeous book.
It's really lovely.
It's even got a little nice little
and
page separator. It's beautiful.
Yeah. And that's just one example of all the stuff you can do now. You could do all that beautiful decorate, and a big thing now is book edging.
You gilt edging. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, more than that, even, you can put all kind of text
symbols and whatever on the edges, and
it's amazing how much you can do with so many different options. There are a lot of different companies out there that do that. Oh, lovely. Oh,
nice gilt edging. Beautiful page work.
I love it.
Whew, pretty stuff.
I love it. That's just one example. So that's one of the things that people come to Kickstarter campaigns for. Though people also come for the ebooks. They come for relatively inexpensive access to large bodies of work that they might have trouble getting hold of elsewhere. They come for exclusive stuff that they can't get elsewhere, but they also come for the physical rewards. So I think if you're in a publishing realm, then you got to do some kind of physical rewards. Absolutely. Usually try to make the book available in all the different formats that are feasible. Though audio is a whole other animal, and you might want to run a separate Kickstarter for that. Challenge coin or a pin.
Coins.
Yeah.
Challenge coin.
I thought it was a condom at first.
I was looking into those. not condoms. No.
I gotta figure.
See if I can focus this thing.
Nice.
See that?
Full color on both sides. Ooh.
Enameled, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
Nice challenge coins.
Yeah.
There's no telling all the things that you can get done with your Kickstarters.
I've been looking into I was going to have some of those for the current campaign. I might still, I don't know, but it's a little trickier. It's more like you got to order a certain minimum number, and it's the numbers are a little trickier to juggle. They're not terribly expensive on an item on a piece by piece basis, but then you have like a mold cost that's associated with them.
And these are actually from an author. It's not an RPG. This is from an author. It was challenge coins for something you could add into the Kickstarter for him financing a book.
Yeah, I think it's great. I think that's wave of the future stuff. Well, wave of the present, obviously, but they're great. I mean, it's a great object, right? And it's small.
It's a physical reminder that you can just keep on the shelf and go, "Oh, this is awesome."
Yeah, I like that better than like a sticker, or like for my one campaign, I offered a disco ball, which it came out okay, but it was maybe not. Yeah, it was for the 1970s anthology of science.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that one. Yeah. So we've had you on for 3 different ones. I'm pretty sure this is like your 4th time in this show.
I just wish I had many more, so I have many more excuses to be on this show, because I always enjoy it.
The hell's wrong with you?
Yeah,
I know.
We'll see after the Patreon show after this whether
or not you still say that. Terry has an evil plan.
No, I do.
We're getting toward the end of this show, so I'm going to go ahead and tease what's going to happen in the Patreon show.
Oh shit! Remember Pitch Storm, folks? Now he claims
this game is actually so that you can supposedly make like movie ideas. We kind of bastardize it a little bit, and we say you as the writer have to come up with the plot idea for this story, and the audience picks the cards. So you're at the mercy not of the hosts but of the audience, and they get to select who they think does best.
Thankfully, Terry has promised.
We're going to go ahead and not introduce this particular card deck.
That deck ruined so many lives. It got
oh my gosh!
If that particular episode ever went public, they cancel everybody who was watching the show.
It was.
They wouldn't cancel us. They cancel the people who are watching the show, because Terry and I were like trying to veer it a little cleaner, and they just kept.
They kept dragging us back down into the pit. Oh no, we're going to go with the most obnoxious option. Here you go.
Filthy.
But before we leave, go ahead, Robert, and let them know where they can find you and where they can find your Kickstarter.
Yeah, you can find me at bobscribe.com. That's my website, bobscribe.com. I'm also on Facebook. You can look me up, and on Twitter and Mastodon. And my Kickstarter campaign goes live this Tuesday, but feel free to check out the pre-launch page at the link, which I think is going to be made available through Discord.
Yep, it's already in the live area on Discord.
Love to have you. I'd love to have you check it out, and it would be great to have you join the project and order up some rewards, and I'll make them extra cool for you. So, thanks.
That sounds awesome. I hope you kick some serious butt on that.
Thank you.
For those that are wondering, if you desperately want to go ahead and see Bob, have to fend for himself in creating a story from random cards, it's the Patreon feed that follows this is going to be about 15 minutes after this show, and we'll send out the link to the folks that are supporters on Patreon and buy me a coffee. So if you are not one, you should become one, because it's going to be fun to watch.
You're here.
I can't freaking wait. If I was going to do a Kickstarter, the only kind of Kickstarter I can think of right now that I would do is the M2 cycle. So that would be the Black, Arrival, and Outbreak all in one volume. Now that would be like a 600-page book.
Would it be like a special hardback volume?
Yes, absolutely.
I like that idea a lot. I think you should go for it. I do. Take your time and come up with a beautiful freaking cover. Beautiful, like we were talking about, edging, and you can just make people want that. Yeah,
Pondy will kill me.
Before we actually get out of here, I should throw out this one last question for you. Chris says, what about offering non-main of the book?
Huh?
I'm not sure I
Like-
quite understand the question.
Maybe the name of the book?
That's
To
what I
name
think he's
characters,
saying?
maybe. I'm not
Or
sure.
the title of the book.
I'm not, Chris. I'm not sure what you actually said. Characters.
Ah,
What about offering to name characters and to be named by higher end Kickstarters? Okay, there we go. Now I sort of understand it.
so words like
Some
my
people do
graveyard.
that. Some people
Yeah.
did that. If the book is not
Tuckerization.
already written.
Yeah, Tucker's. Oh,
That's
if it's already written, you just go back, search and replace. It's not a big deal. Stick another
Getting
volume
published,
number
that's a
on
little
it.
rough.
It can get a little weird though too. You got to watch, and I know we're out of time, but beware of that, because you have to watch what opportunities you present to people. Like, how do you want your name to appear in the book? And sometimes people come up with some stuff that you might not want to use. I'll just say. So
yeah, there have been several occasions where I've had to say, never mind.
Yeah.
So it's like a book that I read where the characters all got together and named town in their fantasy realm, and they named it Towny McTownface. So you got to watch out what you put out there.
That nuclear
so
sub.
bad.
Yeah.
That is so bad.
Bodie McBoatface.
Bodie McBoatface.
Well, that's
exactly.
the one you do the 3D printing test with, is Bodie. Did you not know this?
No.
So Bodhi is a design that all the printer manufacturers basically say, okay, this is the standard by which you judge whether or not the printer is any good and whether or not you've got it set up correctly, is if you can print Bodhi. So it is basically a little boat, and as long as the printer does that much correctly, then you know you're in good shape. If you can't print the goddamn boat to begin with, then nothing else is going to work.
Is that where they came up with that? I had no idea.
I honestly don't know if that's the case. I don't know where it came from. I'm just telling you what the vernacular is that I've heard.
Okay.
I don't have a 3D printer. I just was around engineering for
you should have a 3D printer.
No. No. Although one of the Fiendlings made a 3D, used a 3D printer to create a model of one of the pine cones from Derelict Saga, which is pretty damn cool and terrifying at the same time. That would be kind of scary. I don't recommend it.
All right, folks. Paul, take us out of here. I've got to save a cat.
I got to intro the show and exit the show.
You've got to exit the show. I'll see if you can see this clearly here. I've got little hangers in the window there.
Yeah.
There's two cats on the one on the end, and one of the suckers has become unsecured from the window.
Jeez.
Why are you fixing this? This just sounds like a YouTube or a TikTok moment waiting to happen.
I want them to continue to trust that these are going to stay up when they lay on them.
Trust is overrated. They're cats.
But folks, we will. If you're going to join us for the after show, we'll send out the link on the two sites before the show picks up in about 15 minutes. So we'll see you there.
I'll probably have it.
Paul.
I'll probably have it less than that, but
Probably so.
We'll get on there. Well, if you have a comment about this show, you can send an email to show@deadrobotsociety.com. You can, I am not going to say that word. You can find me on Mastodon at, where am I at? At Paul_E_Cooley at VYRSE.social. Verse.social. You can find us on Facebook at the Listeners of the Dead Robot Society Facebook group, where Terry manages and mangles all the madness. Wow. Where the hell did I come up with that? You can find us on YouTube at youtube.com/podcast to see our ugly mugs and usually so many cats. Although today I think we only saw 3.
Only a couple.
Yeah. I have to thank one of those Pa Hoster who makes all 14 bazillion episodes of the Dead Robot Society available for your ear holes. If you want to support the show, you can find us at patreon.com/DRSpodcast and buymeacoffee.com/DRSpodcast, where for as little as $1 a month, you get access to exclusive nonsense like the horrible things we're about to inflict on Robert Jeschonek, as I like to call him. Bob. Yeah, if you want to see him get digital pies in the face and the whole 9 yards, it's very bad. And at the $10 level, you get your name read. Our $10 patrons and members are Tony L. Joy, Veronica Jagger, Rick Shaw, Lisa Slack, and Isabel Cushy. Thank you to all of our subscribers and members for making this possible. If you enjoy what we do, but do not want to be a subscriber member, you can also tip us at buymeacoffee.com. Throw us a few bucks every now and then. Be very much appreciated. And with that, there's one last damn thing we got to do, which is we have to admit that we're not joining a 12-step group for our caffeine addictions. And we get our caffeine from, where do we get it from? Oh, yeah, corpsecoffee.com. This thing called Corpse. Visit corpsecoffee.com. Check out their array of coffees, boutique teas, and their wonderfully weird web comic, and tell them DRS sent you. Visit corpsecoffee.com and get the dead in your cup. And now it's time for DRS After Dark.
We promise nothing terrible will happen to Bob.
Oh, what about Bob?
I hear my wife calling me.
What about, I can't wait to see these cards now. You sure you didn't include the NC-17 deck? That get freaky. What was the last one? What was it? Professional horse banging. That's what it was. Yes.
Professional horse banging.
What?
Oh yeah, we're gonna have a conversation in a minute.
Yeah, you don't want to see that NC-17 deck.
Thank you for joining us on your Saturday. I hope we didn't do too much brain damage. Check out Robert's stuff. Check out us. We know where we are. Where we are at. You know what? I'm just gonna shut up. Have a good one.
And let's go out of here, and we will see you.